Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Linked In, where you get wired into gaming discussions and community interaction. Today's date is September 10th, 2012, and I am Link, your host. In the background, you will see Guild Wars 2, and I am just going through and, well, one, getting my dailies, and two, clearing an area, because I just found out the first 50,000 people to get 100% get a gold star. The first 100,000 after that get a silver. And then pretty much it's like the first 500,000 to complete the map get a star next to their name. Really kind of cool. It's quite prestigious. Prestigious words. Also, you're going to notice I have a new intro for LinkedIn. I've been working on this, and it sounds okay. If you guys have any suggestions, I'd like to hear them. I'm trying to deter from, well, my placeholders, and this one sounds like it's going good. And, yeah. Okay, so also there's going to be no text in the background, because this one is very rushed, and I will just get both of these out. Real quick, Harbinger. You asked about my runes in my Xerath video? Those are my typical AP runes. That is Mono Regen and flat yellows, or flat AP yellows. Penetration reds. On him I used flat quints for AP, and I used cooldowns for my blues. Anyway, that's not a real question when it comes to LinkedIn, I'm sorry. Okay, so we actually only have, well, we have two questions, so let's go to the Zebes. Zebes. I don't know, but for some reason, I can't pronounce that. Zebais? I don't know, you'll correct me. Do you think the champions pro players use are actually better, or just better for their playstyle, or something else? And do you think we can do more with those champs? Yes. Why do they still play Graves after he's been nerfed into the ground? Great champion if played right. He's got the steroid. He has the damage. He has everything a good AD carry needs. Now he's being nerfed into the ground and almost becoming unusable, but it's how they play them. Now, the reason they don't play champions like Darius is because Darius is great against people that don't know how to beat him and don't understand his tactics. Now, if you look at someone like Darius is easily countered by Jax, or Malphite, or Rammus. I've never seen a Rammus solo top. Really want to try that one day. But it's just, he's so easily countered, but it's playstyle. He's never used a competitive because his playstyle is horrible. And, excuse me. Okay, excuse me, first, I had to sneeze. His playstyle, it literally will just, like, if you don't do it correctly, you're going to lose. And Darius is easily countered, and that's why he's, like, never banned. The only reason people don't like him is because he's easily, like, it's just bad and lame. But back to your question, yes, it is completely their playstyle, and I think that every single champ in the game has this, but the ones that are currently picked were the good ones at the time, and they decided to stick with them. I mean, a great champion that's underplayed is Victor. Because Victor, you don't need your augments. You honestly don't need that. That's a free scaling ability. And you can get the buffed augment later if you need it for specific reasons. So anyway, if you can get the augment for specific reasons, and literally, this allows you to just, well, the augment isn't needed, it's recommended. Now, to get an augment, it depends on what you have. If you're going complete glass cannon, get your glass cannon build and then grab the augment for the fire. If you're going for a very strong tank, get the augment after you get your Will of the Ancients. Because let that start scaling, and then finishing your augment is actually cheaper than a giant's belt, and you get a bigger payout. So, right there is a big incentive. And then if you really need a lot of CC and your lane's tough, or, you know, they like to get close range, easily just walk in there, flop down, or get that other augment, which I don't suggest, it's actually horrible. But you could just use that. It's very versatile. And he isn't played a lot. Why? He does have burst damage, but he also has sustained damage. He has a sustained, like a Q. And he can just keep spamming it and spamming it and spamming it. And this is what he does. And without this, Victor is nothing. And he is a great champion if he were to be played in competitive. Same with Ziggs. There's nothing wrong with Ziggs. He counters everyone, he does nice burst damage. During teamfights, he's so valuable. If you can have a Sona on your team and a Ziggs, with perfect coordination, you can demolish the enemy team. Have your Sona throw her ulti in there, and then right after that, have your Ziggs throw his ulti in there, and you will annihilate them because they really can barely get away from the middle. And you just have your Ziggs target the exact middle of where one of the people are that will actually, like, lose to it. Now, some other champions I think that really need to be put in competitive because they are getting kind of shunned. Ashe, she kind of got taken away because Draven, but Draven's not good anymore, and I honestly think he's only good in laning because that's the only time he ever shines. Because he's really good at poking and he can dominate his lane if played correctly. And once he's one of those champions that has to get his feed early game. If he doesn't, he'll suffer late game. Now, it doesn't matter about his farm because most AD carries, if they played correctly, we're saying about an average farm of 200 when roaming starts. That Draven is actually going to be under the curve. But if he does great laning and actually gets a couple kills on that, he will be much stronger. Now, that's pretty much my little spiel on champions that competitive players play. I mean, Corki, Graves, Ezreal, 3 great champions, just got a nice nerf to them. By nice, I mean bad. And completely obliterate how they're going to work. Will we see them in the next tournament? Probably. Why? Because they can. Okay, so we have a question from Mindlord, which is, do you believe any MOBA game is better than the other? Or are they just different? And what are the pros and cons of the main ones? I'm guessing by the main ones you mean Dota, Han, and LoL. Well, I've played all 3 of them. And I liked LoL, I liked Han, I liked Dota. Well, you guys know I like LoL. Anyway, so I like all of them. Now, do I believe one is better than the other? No. Why do I believe this? Because every game has their own little niche. League of Legends has 1, its simplicity to learn, 2, its abilities to do whatever you want. I mean, there's no locked camera in Dota or in Han. They have a weird floating camera, but there's no locked camera. Some new player isn't going to like moving around the map like an RTS. He might want a locked camera. League is user friendly, and in this is essentially just, since it's user friendly, it's really easy to actually get new players, and that's kind of what League's been attracting, is all the new players that they see from the competitive streams. Now, we also have Dota, let's go to Han. Han has an aesthetic that's not really pleasing, but it was at some time. Now, they started off with a model where you just buy the game and you buy the game. And that's that. But for them, I really like the creep denying. I mean, that was taken from the original Dota, but it feels like it has a lot more skill involved in it, along with they do have trees in that game as well. Now, then we go to Dota. Dota has... It's hard to explain. I don't like anything about Dota except the way the skills look. The way the skills look is amazing. It shows what they're doing. It really puts a lot of emphasis behind them. Like, after I got done playing a couple games of Dota, I went and practiced on Jace. And I used his Q, and I'm like, that's wimpy. Because in Dota, there's a champion, or hero, or I don't know what they're called. Anyway, like, he grabs an orb, he throws it at someone, it glows around them, and then it just, like, implodes on them, and the screen shakes if you're actually looking at them. And, I mean, come on. That feels good. I mean, there's no skills like that in LoL. I mean, if Gangplank's ulti actually made your screen shake, that'd be amazing. Same thing with Shyvana's ult. Just adding that extra impact to make the skills feel so much better. That would be so good for LoL, and would take away pretty much all the good aspects I see of Dota. Now, Dota 2, now here's my scale on all 3 of them. It goes League of Legends, Han, Dota 2. Why is Han in the mid? Because Han did what Dota 2 did first, and did it better. I actually learned when I played the tutorial in Han, other than when I played it in Dota. Dota is just confusing. And also, the ease of use of Han is much better than Dota. Dota has the most convoluted UI I've ever seen, and it literally just hurts me to actually like use it and all of that. I actually haven't even bothered to reinstall it. I uninstalled it to install Guild Wars 2. Same thing with Han. I needed the room. 25 gigs is a lot. So I uninstalled both of those, and yeah. But I don't think I'm going to install one of them anytime soon, and the other one I will only install if my friends ask me to. So that is a thing. Okay, this was a quite bad Linked In my opinion, but yet again, that is my opinion. So, if you enjoyed the content provided, leave a like. If you want to stay current, subscribe. Think your friends will like this, send it to them. And I'll talk to you all later.